Of course, we saw Nvidia.
Yes, we did.
They're everywhere. They're omnipotent.
Yes.
The biggest company in the world. Look at that, second biggest company in the world, aren't they?
They're massive. Yeah, big time.
They released the new 50 series cards.
Yeah.
With some big kind of announcements mixed into it.
Yeah.
The first kind of minor one was obviously the baseline is the 5070.
Yep.
Which gives you, as they say, 4090 performance for $500.
It's nuts, isn't it?
That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's really shaking it up.
Yeah.
It's crazy that we're now in a space where we think $500 for a graphics card is cheap.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it always kind of has been, I suppose.
But that's where we're at.
Yeah.
And that's cheaper than the 4070 was at launch as
yes,
well, isn't it?
It's $50 less, I believe.
So their pricing's going backwards. Yeah. Amazing.
But I mean, there's a bit of an asterisk at that 4090 performance in there. Like,
yeah.
It's not going to be.
It's not going to be. No, of course it's not.
They're just saying, like, with 20 times frame gen.
That's why it's going to be. So yeah, it's like the 5070 Ti.
Yes, that's where it's at.
5070 Ti.
It's 5070 Ti. Screw the 5070. 12 gig of RAM on the 5070. Yeah, no, thank you. No. That's so last year, man.
Yeah, like, that's so Acer.
yeah, that's just for them. You know, the Z2 Go's just for Lenovo. The 5070 is just for Acer. They can have that. They'll think it's the best thing. But anyway, yeah, the 5070 Ti, we're now up to 16 gig of RAM, which should have been the default. You know,
it kind of needs to be now.
But yeah, the jump up between the 5070 and the 5070 Ti, okay, it's like $200 more. But you know, if you're gonna get it, I would get the Ti, hands down. Just save up.
You think like the balance between price and performance, the Ti is probably where 5070 Ti is where it's
absolutely.
at.
The 5070 Ti will be like jumping up probably from a 4060 to a 4080.
Yeah,
you know, it'll be a big step just between those two systems. I mean, if you look at the 4070 and then look at the 4070 Super and then the 4070 Super Ti, you know, there's a big step just from going from 4070 to the Ti variant. So for the 50 series, with that extra gig of, however many gig of RAM, 4 gig extra, that is where you want to be. 12 gig, 10 gig is nowhere near enough. 8 gig's gone and done now. Yeah. Do not buy an 8 gig card anymore. 10 gig is like bare minimum. 12 gig is what I would now class as minimum.
Yeah.
So 16 gig is where you want to be. So yeah, definitely the 4070 Ti is the sweet spot.
We saw up to the 5090. Obviously, they kind of carried on with the same naming convention. AMD's graphics cards have now kind of married up in their naming convention, haven't they?
They completely changed it, and their reasoning was to compete with, to align with competitors.
Yeah,
which
makes
is just
sense.
Nvidia.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, I've loads of people say to me like, it's not confusing. Are you joking? Like AMD naming system is insane.
Random fact: the CEO of Nvidia, Jens, whatever his name is, Anyway, he is first cousins with the CEO of AMD.
So they're like around the dinner table at Christmas, like
they're related to.
Yeah, really annoyed at each other.
Two of the biggest, and when you're talking about graphics developers, they're it.
Yeah, they're like top of the line.
Top of the line, and they're related.
So he's copying his homework basically.
Wow,
from a distance.
Yeah, I don't think Nvidia need to worry about anyone.
No,
they're
they
so
don't.
much,
of course,
so much bigger and better than.
And AMD have already said we're not trying to outperform on top level now.
Yeah,
they're going to stick to the budget side, which they do incredibly well.
Yes.
So and especially when you look at their APUs, they're like wiping the floor with Intel.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's really good. If AMD, they still will be pushing really good cards with great performance, but they're going to try and stick with the more budget friendly options and try and outperform Nvidia in the lower class.
Yeah.
Which they have for ages anyway, to be fair.
The 5090 anyway, the top of the line Nvidia card it starts from 2000 or 1999.
Is 1999999999. And how many RAMs gigs has it got?
Was it 32?
Yeah, I think it's got 32 gig of RAM or 34. It's something insane. It's absolutely mental.
It is absolutely mental. The price point, once we start getting the individual variants from the different manufacturers.
Oh yeah.
Like Asus and stuff, MSI and all that.
Yeah, the price would go up even more.
Yeah, I think we're probably like the $2,500 kind of territory.
Oh yeah.
For some of them.
You've made it to the end of this clip, and we think it would be incredible if you
watch the full show. It's going to be linked right there, smashed between our faces. It's an hour long.
Yes.
We talk kind of slow.
We do.
About all things gaming.
Yes.
And, it's like a new thing called a podcast. You should try it out sometime.
Try it out.
All the kids love them.
Oh, yes.